characteristics of prepared cordial, such as color, odor, sweetness, sourness, stickiness, and also favorite. The next one is to identify on how good the person will be able to determine the taste and texture of prepared cordial with their sense. And lastly, to determine the most desired taste of prepared cordial according to the sensory test analysis. As we can see, these are the main ingredients needed to perform the sensory test. First ingredient is mineral water. Next, we also use 1 packet of sugar with 1 kg weight. Then 1 bottle of Sangkui orange cordial with 330 ml is used. Last but not least, we also use 1.5 liter bottles and 25 ml cup for the sensory test.
For samples preparation, firstly, 1 kg of sugar was dissolved with hot water. Then, 5 samples of cordial has been prepared with label as sample A, B, C, D, and E. For sample A, 12.5 ml of sugar solution and 62.5 ml of Sangkui orange cordial has been mixed with 1 liter of water. For sample B, 25 of sugar solution and 50 ml of Sangkui orange cordial has been mixed with 1 liter of water. For sample C, 32.5 ml of sugar solution and 25 ml of Sangkui orange cordial has been mixed with 1 liter of water. For sample D, 50 ml of sugar solution and 12.5 ml of Sangkui orange cordial has been mixed with 1 liter of water. And lastly, for sample E, 62.5 ml of sugar solution and 6.25 ml of Sangkui orange cordial has been mixed with 1 liter of water.
And now we move to the sensory test process. Sensory test process have 3, which is before, during, and after. Okay, for before sensory test, firstly, all the samples were prepared with a different concentration and placed on the table for the sensory test. Secondly, all the samples were divided equally into the same volume in individual same serving container. Next, each of the serving container are labeled with a different code so they can easily evaluate the samples. And lastly, before starting, they will be given a piece of paper which is a sensory analysis questionnaire as shown.
During sensory tests, participants from different groups will perform sensory analysis to evaluate the samples. They will observe the color, odor, sweetness, sourness, and stickiness during and after drinking the samples. The participants were told to drink some water before testing the next sample to ensure that their palate was cleansed. The participants need to answer the questionnaire provided based on their observation. Each questionnaire will be evaluated to get the result of which sample is most preferred for each participant.
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Suzila. My name is Ana Amira binti Ahmad, and today me and Umairah will explaining on our results that we have obtained from our sensory evaluation test. As you can see, this slide showed us about the sensory evaluation table that we've created to be filled by our respondents. There are 5 types of characteristics that we wanted to observe, which are color, odor, texture, sweetness, sourness, and stickiness. Last but not least, our respondents need to choose which one of the samples they like the most and rate according to their preference. So here is the scale of each characteristics that we wanted to observe from our respondents. For appearance test, the purpose of this test is for the respondents to observe the difference in color of the sample from A to D. For the odor test, the respondents need to smell the sample and decide and arrange which sample have a strong odor compared to others. Last but not least, for the taste test, the respondents need to taste the sample and decide which sample is more sweet or more sour and give the sample the rates according to the scales provided by our groups.
Hello, it's Umay. In this slide, I will discuss about sensory evaluation for texture test and favorites. For texture test, it's scale from 1 to 5, which number 1 indicate for the least sticky and number 5 indicate for most sticky. While for favorites, It's scale from 1 to 5, and number 1 indicate for dislike a lot and number 5 indicate for like a lot. Moving to the results of sensory activities, as we can see here, we have color characteristic, odor characteristic, and sweetness characteristic. For color characteristic, sample A has the highest rates among men and women, and the least is sample E, which indicates the sample A has the darker shade of color compared to sample E. So for odor characteristic, sample A and sample B has the strong odor compared to other sample, but sample C and sample D has a high rates from women compared to men. Moving to the sweetness characteristic, equal number of women rates for sample B, C, and D, while the highest for men is sample B.
Next, I will continue to explain for our next results. Based on our graph of sweetness characteristic, it shows that sample A have the highest rating from our respondents, while sample E show the lowest value. Thus, we can conclude that sample A have a very strong sour flavor based on our respondents' rating. Next, from our second graph, sample B have the highest number of rating from our respondents, while sample E have the lowest number of rating. This graph is mainly about the texture of the sample, either it is sticky or not. Thus, based on the results, we can conclude that sample B have the most sticky texture compared to other sample based on our respondents' opinion. Lastly, the respondents need to choose one of the sample that they like the most. Thus, from the results showed here, sample C have the highest number of likes from both of the gender, while sample E have the lowest number of likes from our respondents. With that, I end my presentation with a big of honor. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Azima. In conclusion, sensory testing can help you get inside your customer's head, providing significant information into how they evaluate your product using their primary senses. We create subconscious brand loyalty by combining the 5 basic senses of taste, touch, sight, sound, and scent. Learning to use one sense has numerous benefits, particularly in terms of developing a stronger appreciation for the foods and beverage we consume. In summary, sample A results higher vote on color, odor, and sweetness. Meanwhile, sample B highest in stickiness evaluation, and sample C has the perfect balance on the color and orange cordial concentration.
Hi, my name is Sakina. As a conclusions from all the objectives, we can conclude that we able to achieve all 3 objectives. Since students able to characterize the color, odor, sweetness, sourness, stickiness, and favorites of the cordial among all the sample. And based on the results, sample C are the most favorites compared with other sample. These activities also help students to be more understanding about knowledge on sensory evaluation of food, and they not only can learn but can apply the knowledge in their daily life. Thank you.